Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Wing, and in this video, I want to talk about the Hibana concert experience I had in Sydney. So, I unfortunately have post-concert amnesia and post-concert depression, and I never knew these were a thing, and it's probably because I've never cared enough about other artists to remember anything about their concerts. And it's no shade to them, Ado is just the very first artist who's ever made me feel like I needed to see them live. So the only thing I remember vividly is the moment Ado showed up, and that's it. Because it was so surreal to me, like I couldn't believe it was her. And I was also thinking about how's the screen behind her not illuminating any part of her? Like it really was just her silhouette, and I was just so amazed by it. Anyway, I'll start off with merch because that was a first time experience for me. So despite being East Asian, I have never been to an East Asian artist's concert before, and so I had no experience with lining up for merch and how early you have to be. I'm not big on merch either. I initially just got the light stick, but as the date got closer, I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I had two light sticks? And so I decided to line up, and I thought I might as well get other things as well. So people online were saying if you want to make sure you get everything you want, you have to line up 2 to 3 hours early. And I thought, really? Apparently some people in Taiwan lined up the night before, which prompted the official staff to ask people not to camp out overnight or form unofficial lines, and that merch starts at 10 and the staff will help you line up at 7. Once again, I was like, really? So I got there at around 7:30 Sunday morning, and it was cold, but thankfully it didn't rain that weekend. And so as I was making my way to the merch stall, once again, I was like, people are just being dramatic, right? There's no way you need to be that early for merch, right? Well, alright then. I stand corrected. There were a few hundred people already in line. Some had picnic mats, some had chairs, and I was just glad I went to the bathroom. So as time went on, the line got longer and longer, and it looped at wherever the back was, and it made its way back to the merch stall. And at around 10 to 10, the end of the line, went past the merch stall. And it really was a spectacle. I saw an older white couple ask someone in line what was going on, and when I was at the merch stall, I saw an older Chinese couple peek into the merch stall. I saw some Ado cosplayers. I think I saw one Hatsune Miku cosplayer. I just wore a rose on my jacket. And yeah, once the merch stall opened, it got to me at around 11, so the line did move pretty quickly because I think they had like 10 people working there. Someone very happily announced that they spent $800 on merch. I saw someone with a suitcase. I saw one of those boxy grocery carts that I had never seen before until I went to Hong Kong, and then it was just everywhere. And yeah, after 3.5 hours of lining up, I finally got my merch. I got another light stick, I got a plushie, 2 travel tags, and a towel. I got 2 travel tags because I kind of wanted to use one, and since it's embroidered, I knew that it would loosen up, and it did when I used it in Hong Kong, and that's also why I'm never gonna use it ever again. A girl was also handing out stickers when I was in line, so thank you for that. It's also a real shame that the light stick doesn't sync with the overseas concerts, and I understand it's difficult to organize, but I do hope that the future light sticks will sync with her overseas concerts because that way it'll just look so much better, and the audience would also not need to have to bother changing the colors themselves, in my opinion. So I went home after getting merch, and then I came back and lined up for the security check at around 6 p.m. Show started at 8 p.m. There was then another line for the Hibana VIPs for you to get your goodies, which include this card and a chain brooch, which looks really cool. There was more merch inside, and then when I went into the arena at around 7, I was really surprised to not see anyone on their phone. And no one had their phones out because security was really strict with the whole no filming thing. And they were like, if I see your phone out, I'm kicking you out. which was great because that's exactly what Ado wants. And on the stage, there was the cage, and behind the cage was the screen that said in big, bold letters, no photos, no videos, no recordings, no binoculars before, throughout, and after the show. If you're caught recording, you'll be asked to leave. And I definitely saw some people taking photos of the stage before security caught them, and I didn't see anyone in my section get kicked out during the show. But after the show, there was a girl walking upstairs in front of me, and she turned around, took a picture. She didn't leave immediately, and the security immediately came down and got her to delete the photo. So props to security for doing their job well, and shame on the people who disrespected Ado's wish. Like, it's fine if you didn't know and then you deleted it, but then if you knew and you weren't caught and you didn't delete it and you just had to post it online, shame on you. It was really nice to not see a phone in sight, actually. So for an hour, we were all just kind of sitting there, signaling each other with the light sticks, and just before the show started, a lady came out and told us the rules again, and she said, please stay at your seats. And most people interpreted that as, please stay seated. And that's why everyone just stayed seated throughout the entire concert. Which, to be completely honest, as much as I would have loved to have stood up and all that, if the guy stood up in front of me, I would not have been able to see anything. So yeah, I don't know. It was great, but I also really want to stand up. Maybe I can do that next time, as long as I'm not blocking anyone. And also it depends on what seats I get, because you know, you don't really get to pick your seats. You can pick your section, you can pick aisle seats, but you don't get to pick your row. So let's just see what I get next time. So, the set list. Avert your eyes and ears if you do not wish to be spoiled. Starting from the top, we have Usewa, Lucky Bruto, Gira Gira, Show, Kura Kura, Ready Made, Mirror, Charles, Elf, Value, Stay Gold, Rule, Fleeting Lullaby, Aishite Aishite Aishite, Band Introduction, Backlight, Hibana, Episode X, MC Bit, Odo. The Encore involves Rockstar, and then Chandelier by Sia, and then her second MC bit, and then finally New Genesis. And I don't remember how any of these songs went, and here's my theory. Like, I think maybe I was too familiar with the songs. I did try not to listen to Ado before the concert, but I couldn't do it. Maybe too much was happening and my brain couldn't keep up. Maybe I was too busy headbanging and dual wielding, and so my eyes weren't on Ado that much. I was also busy fidgeting with these loop earbuds because I bought them specifically for Ado's concert. So I didn't know you needed ear protection for concerts until I went to the Bruno Mars concert in 2022, and I couldn't hear anything for a few minutes after the show was over. And I don't know, maybe we were sitting too close to the speakers. We were not close to the stage at all. And yeah, and then I heard about these and I'm like, well, I want to protect my ears so I can keep listening to Ado. And so I got these for like 30 Aussie dollars. And yeah, I don't know how these worked, but they definitely worked. When I didn't have them in, I couldn't hear Ado at all. The bass and the music were just way too loud. But the moment I put it in, I could hear Ado so well. But I do think they cut the bass a bit too much for my liking. And so what I ended up doing was taking these mutes out. So these mutes are supposed to help you reduce the volume by 3 more decibels. And also, I kind of just let them sit on the opening of my ear canal. So if this is the opening, I just let them do this. And so I just didn't push them in. So that way they wouldn't seal up my ears completely, and so that I would still be able to hear Ado and the music. So yeah, next time I'm going to try using these XS ear tips. The one I had were the default small ear tips. So hopefully next time I can push these in while not having them seal up my ears. I did take these earbuds out though when Ado was talking, which brings me to her MC bit. So Ado tried speaking English, which was very endearing. She said she saw a koala, a kangaroo. She forgot the word for wombat, and so she called it a big rat, like oki nezumi. She apparently also saw the vivid light installations. She was like opera house decorations. She did not mention flying onions. I don't think Ado would have known how many international fans knew about that.
なんだってなんか今変なスパチャ飛んだな。オーストラリアの玉ねぎは空を飛ぶんだよ。何言ってんのオーストラリアの玉ねぎって空を飛ぶんですか？皆さん知ってますか？オーストラリアの玉ねぎは空を飛ぶんですか？オーストラリアに住んでる方教えてください。オーストラリアの玉ねぎは空を飛ぶんですか？そういう光景が広がってるんですか？なんで？ちょっと見たいかもしれない。
She then moved on to her main speech, and it's already been translated on Reddit, so check it out if you want to. There were translations on screen, but they weren't very good. They were slow. I think the line about her wanting to be a spark in someone's life repeated itself, and so not everything was translated. And here's just a minor complaint, not about Ado. I did find it a little bit annoying when people would just scream whenever there was a pause in her speech. And like, I get it, not every single international fan understands Japanese, and I understood enough to know that she was in the middle of a sentence, which is why I felt like people just weren't letting her finish. And some people also decided to turn into a competition to see who could yell the loudest, and that really annoyed me. So next time, I guess I'll just keep my ears plugged because it was still kind of loud, even though it was just Ado talking. And then she was like, oh, the next song is the last song. Oh, kanashi, so sad. But you know, it's not the last song. After Odo, she disappeared for a bit. And then the crowd started chanting a lot of things. I heard Encore, Ado, and the loudest chant was probably one more song. She then came back, did Rockstar, and we did the whoa, oh, whoa, oh. That was really cool. It was just like the commercial. She then did Chandelier by Sia, and I was looking forward to that so much. I like Sia. I wanted to hear how Ado would do an English song. Yet my brain just refuses to recall anything. And so I'm really glad the Berlin clip showed a snippet of her singing Chandelier. And I do remember her not using her opera voice. She used more of her forward, nasally type of voice. And yeah, I guess I do remember something when it comes to aishite, aishite, aishite. Like, you know how she screams that last high note out? Yeah, the way she screamed it scared me. I was so scared for her voice. I was like, oh, that can't be good for your voice. But you know what? She was able to talk fine after that. Like, she never needed to clear her throat. Yeah, I don't know how she does it. I do hope that Ado gets a well-deserved break after touring because, like, girl does a lot. And wasn't her first world tour, like, literally just last year? So then she spoke a bit more and she did hear the stomping of the floor when we were yelling for the encore, and she's like, wow, I can really hear the energy from the chairs. And oh, the pen lights are so beautiful in this full house. I'm not sure if it was a sold out show. They did say it was, but then I do remember checking Ticket Tech afterwards, and it showed some empty seats, so I don't know. So then she finished up with Shinjidai, and that was it. So now that I know I have post-concert amnesia, I know I need to hear Ado at least twice the next time she tours. So yeah, I mean, that's not excessive, right? It's not like I'm one of those fans who are able to follow her around, going to every single city. I'm not Kanemochi. So yeah, that's basically it with my Hibana experience. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.